many, and I am of this opinion, would say that the complication rate of circumcision is 100%. But what do we mean by complications? When I say 100%, I think I'm trying to say that every male who's been circumcised has lost significant tissue and has somewhere in the recesses of his somatic memory. Some talk about limbic imprinting. This is a portion of the brain, the very primitive brain. There is somewhere that this memory of this incredible pain in the neonatal period is stored. And it comes out in a variety of ways. And we're all missing a very critical and important part of our sexual apparatus. So yes, 100% complication rate. But when we're talking, people wonder, what's the acute complication rate? Well, what are the acute complications? Bleeding. There are aberrant arteries which are sometimes inadvertently cut, and bleeding is rampant and is difficult to stop, and you might have to bring the baby into the hospital for transfusions. That's a major complication. Sepsis, infection, that's a major complication. Anytime you have to bring the baby into the hospital, again, to do something to the baby, that's a major complication. And what about death? Well, there are some studies which purport to show that something like 200 babies die in the United States of America from circumcision. Now, the death certificates don't always say cause of death circumcision. They'll say hemorrhage or overwhelming infection, and the circumcision gets hidden in here. But there's no question in my mind that babies die every year from circumcision. And, of course, in countries which are more primitive than our country, in the African countries, the death rate is much higher. The acute major complication rate will vary anywhere from 0.5% to, in best conditions, 2.5 to 3%, and in the more primitive countries can be as high as 20%. However, this is only dealing with the acute complications. The late complications are problems with the urinary opening, the urethral meatus, which can get a stricture. You can get an asymmetric cut so that when the scar heals, the penis will be bent, and it will be virtually impossible in the erect state to achieve any degree of penetration. If the cut is very severe, the erection will be very painful because there's not that much tissue to allow the penis to engorge. The degree of foreskin removal will vary very much, but as an average, it's about 50% of the neonatal skin covering the penis is actually removed. Numerous nerve cells are just totally lost. Cells which are very important in the reception of pleasure. So complications are a big, medical complications are a significant feature, especially in an operation that is as common as circumcision.